Coming up this week on the show, Gary's here and we're just going to catch up on our news and projects before we take a week off. So I'll be talking about my new home theatre setup and what I'm planning to do with it. Gary's got his innovative little weigh scale idea for measuring medication. We're talking about that. I've got some Modwave sound packs I wanted to talk about and lots more, so let's get straight to Gary. Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, and I thought we'd do a catch-up show this week. We're no guests this week, but we're on holiday next week, so I thought we'd catch up on some of the things we've been working on over the last couple of weeks.
Sounds a good plan.
So yeah, we've been playing around with a few different things over the last few weeks. We did have some builds as well, which we can talk about. I've got some new sound packs and some new gear that I'm going to be testing as well. And I know you've been working on some projects as well.
I have, and I've also had a couple of EV experiences as well. I can tell you about those as well.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm recording on a new mic. I'm testing a new mic tonight. I've got a little clip-on mic. These are fairly, you can get them sort of everywhere now, these little clip-on mics. It's quite a good little unit. It's got a little thing that plugs into the phone at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which I've actually got plugged in over there into the dock of my Surface because it's got USB on it. So that's what I'm running off tonight. I was going to use my Surface headphones, but they don't hold charge very long anymore. So I would have been completely hands-free wireless. But yeah, I'm on the studio headset. But it comes with a pack of 2 as well. So it's Synthfest coming up in a few weeks' time, the 5th of October. So I'll be going up there. So I thought it would be quite useful for doing videos with, because you can have both work at the same time.
You can, and it's really good for interviews. I've got a similar set, and I used them at the Fully Charged Live North when I was up there. Now the only issue with them, and you'll have to watch this, is if they're doing their own outside broadcasts, they've got people on the stage with radio mics. They're a bit wide on the frequency response, so you might find that they pick up the frequencies from their other mics. But other than that, they're really good. Yeah,
so I'll give it that a try. So you can sort of, at least you can video with your phone, but then you can use the mic with the guest then. So
yes, it's good. It works really well when you do it properly.
Little furry things.
Yeah, they're actually very good at noise reduction on the voice on the things. And they're a little bit muffled compared to sort of a desktop mic, but they're still very audible. I can hear you clearly. So.
Yeah, so I thought to give it a try. So I tried it in the office today. It's quite a noisy environment, and it does have some active noise cancelling by the sounds of it.
It does, yeah. It's really good at that.
Yeah. I also thought one of the issues when I do my synth videos, I usually sit here and I've got a keyboard here, and sometimes use the desk. I usually use this desk mic here, but it does pick up the keys. So you can. I don't know if this will pick it up now, but as I'm playing, you can hear the rattle of the keys, which you probably can't hear through this because Teams should suppress that. But when I'm just doing it through the to the cameras, so the Teams, I don't like hearing that when I'm doing the editing. I want to hear the synth, not my rattling of the keys. So because they're on separate tracks, I edit them out. But it's quite time consuming muting the audio, and if I talk at the same time as I play, then it gets actually quite tricky because I'm trying to mute my mic while you want to hear what I'm saying. So if I talk at the same time as I'm playing, then that gets tricky. So I was hoping instead of having the mic on the desk, this mic closer to me and further away from the keyboard might work. I don't know whether it'll make much difference, but I'll give it a try. But also sometimes when the other keyboards are over there, I can't get the mic over there. So that would help in that instance as well. So I'll tell you something else I've tried actually, which is, I'm not sure we talked about this, but with Phone Link now, you can use your Android phone as a webcam. I should have tried this actually. Maybe we'll do it for the future show. But you can go into Phone Link and use your Android phone as a webcam. So on the last few videos, the synth videos that I've done, normally what I do is I record them all separately, then I get them into Camtasia and I have to line them up so the keys are all in sync and everything. But of course I can if you use the phone, I can have it sort of over the keyboard like that so you can see the keys, but I can get it to sync up with the track because it's using that as a webcam. I still need 2. You can't have 2 webcams with phone link. You can only have one, so it's not quite perfect. I end up using two devices, but yeah, that phone link does work quite well, and it's wireless as well. So you know, you can use your phone however you want. And I've got one of those phone holders, so you can sort of position the phone wherever you need. So if you don't have a webcam on your laptop, or in this case, I've got my desktop with all the music software on. So if I want to just not use a laptop as well, I can just use the webcam from my phone, or use the front or rear facing camera of the phone via phone link, and Camtasia sees it as a normal webcam, so, or XSplit or whatever. So it's actually a really good solution, that. So that's quite handy. That. So yeah, I'm trying to get my videos as easy to edit as possible. There's still quite a lot of work goes into these, as you well know.
Yes.
You know, a 20-minute, a 20-minute video of a new synth sound pack. You know, it can take perhaps take an hour to film, and then it takes even longer to do the edit. The Surface Studio does struggle a bit sometimes with all these multiple videos as well. They're all in, of course, HD or 4K videos. Desktop eats it up, no problem at all. So actually now I've started editing on my desktop because it flies along with that one. But anyway, so that's where I got the mic, hopefully. And if anybody is going to Synthfest in October 5th, let me know, because I'm really looking forward to that. It was a good show last year, and I'm looking forward to, I know Korg are there and some of the other manufacturers, so I'm looking forward to a good wander around. I have to go on my own this year. My sons are on holiday in wherever they're going abroad somewhere, so they were going to be my cameramen, but I'm going on my own this year. But I'm used to the juggling around with cameras and mics and everything else, so it's quite a good. It's a really good fun show, that, actually, as well. So if you're into any technology, new tech, music technology, old technology, modular, there's so much of that as well, or but anything synth based. And that's up at the Octagon in Sheffield, part of Sheffield University. So we had Paul from Synthfest on the show last year. So, but I'll include a link to the Synthfest tickets in the show notes anyway. So if anybody's thinking of going, it's Saturday the 5th of October, I think, and I'll definitely be there. So if anybody, I know a few people are planning to go over there, so I'll see you there. I mentioned I wanted to catch up on a few bits and pieces. So I know you've got some projects you've been working on. One of the things I've been working on over the last few weeks is a new sound collection for the Modwave, and I've not had a Modwave collection for some time, actually. I've been doing all of the synths, but this is an analog collection for the Modwave, and I'm really pleased to be back on the Modwave. It's a great synth to program, and I really enjoyed doing the programming on it as well. So this is a collection of about 60 performances and programs on there, and I've gone through each of them and kind of explained how it works and the philosophy behind it, and actually the technique for creating those sounds. So if you've got a Modwave, then you can just download the sounds and import them. But even if you don't, they are a tutorial video as well, so you can kind of see that these techniques apply to most analog or digital analog modeling synths, so you can get into that. But there's some familiar sounds in there, and there's also lots of new ones, but they're all nice analog sounds. So they're a free download from the digitallifestyle.com, and they get those in your synth. Supports all the Modwaves, and it's quite a fun pack to install. And I've got plenty of others I'm working on as well, so I do quite enjoy doing those. The other thing I just want to say as well is a big thank you to everybody that subscribed, because we ticked over the 10,000 YouTube subscriber mark last week. Excellent. So so we got 10K. I was a bit disappointed, really, because I remember reading a few years ago there was like an award you got from YouTube for getting over 10,000, but they've dropped it now. They've put it's now 100,000.
Yeah, I never got that. So,
yeah, so it's going to be some time before I get to 100,000 subscribers. It's took a long while to get to 10K, although definitely ramped up in the last couple of years as I've done all the synth stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you, and thank you to people that have donated, particularly for the sound packs. I've had quite a few tips and donations for the sound packs because I don't charge for them. Most people do, but my model is more about the community side of it, so it's always very nice appreciated. Like, that's why I buy little microphones and things like that now, because I think, oh well, if someone's donated, I'll try and make the videos as good a quality as possible. But yeah, so that was a nice milestone to reach. So analog synth set for the Modwave. I've got one coming for the an analog type one for the wave state, and by popular request, loads of people asked me I did a Genesis set for the Modwave, and I'm now doing a Genesis set for the wave state. So a lot of people have asked me for this one, so I'm doing some of those, so you can recreate those classic Genesis sounds on the wave state. So I'm very much enjoying doing them. The only trouble is doing those is I've not done any of my own music recording for a couple of months now because I haven't had the time.
More music.
Yeah, so I've got 7 tracks written and recorded. I usually get to about 10 before I release them. But I haven't recorded anything new. But I've got all these ideas now because I'm creating these sounds. I think, oh, that make a great track, but then I don't actually go and finish them. But what I have done is, because I'm terrible at remembering these things, I have got to have it now. I found something I like, I record it, make a couple of notes on what patches I used, and then I file that away so that when I do think, right, I want to do some music, I have got 10, 20 ideas that are all ready to go and sort of give you that inspiration, because sometimes you can just think, oh, I want to do some music recording, and you can't, there's no inspiration. But yeah, so now I've got a few of these, so hopefully I'll do a few more of these and then I can get back to for doing some of these some more tracks. I have got some that I've been working on, so that should be good. But I've got a lot more. I've got another D110 sound pack coming as well. They're all in D110, which I've now got mounted in the rack behind me over there. On a couple of things, did I mention about my receiver that stopped working? I did, didn't I? I think
you did, yes.
Yeah. So no right channel on my receiver. So after some deliberation, I decided to go on the Sonos route for my home cinema setting. So I think what I'm going to do, while the receiver doesn't work, the Mission speakers are excellent and still work with a big subwoofer as well. So I'm going to sell those. But what I have got is some boxes behind here. Like this one is a soundbar. There's some plays, and there's one very big heavy box. See if you can guess what this one is. Ah, this is heavy. This one.
I'm guessing it's a subwoofer. They're always heavy.
Yes. Yeah. So I've got the Dolby Atmos Play, the soundbar. I think it's called. Not the biggest one, it's not the small one, it's the medium sized one. And I've got 2 Era 100s for rear, and then the mini subwoofer. But it doesn't feel very mini in that box, it feels rather large actually, but it's a subwoofer, the mini subwoofer. So I've got all those, but I'm going on holiday this week, so no time to set them up until I get back. But then I've got the project then of dismantling the old system, because there's cables everywhere behind my TV. There's hundreds of cables because all the surround sound speakers are up there wall mounted. So what I'm going to do is take all those down, get all the cables out. I only need one cable from the Skybox to the Sonos Play bar. Everything else is wireless, so that means I can take all the speaker cables out, all the coaxial cables, everything out the back. I've got network leads and all sorts to around the back of the TV for the different legacy reasons, but don't really need any of them now. I only need the power and the HDMI. So I'm going to take all the cables out. I'm going to take the brackets off the wall, fill the holes, and get that all done. So and then put the Sonos in on the rear speakers on freestanding stands, and then of course the bar just sits on the unit under the TV. So I've got a cupboard with the receiver in at the moment. I'm going to take and the subwoofer, they can all come out. I can put the Skybox in there out the way. So I'm hoping to reorganize everything. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that set up then. So I wasn't going to get the rear, but I was kind of thinking I know I'm going to miss them. I thought, well, maybe I don't need to sub. No, I'll miss that as well. So decided to go for it. So we'll see what they sound like. I'll probably document me setting them up. I won't document me dismantling the old ones because no one want to see all that dust and cables. But my wife's quite looking forward to me to cleaning up around the TV. But it does mean that the trade-off of that means it does have to decorate the lounge. So I've got to get the old paint rollers out. But once I've filled all the holes, I can do all that. So it's been a good system though. I've had it 15 years, something like that, and so nothing wrong with the speakers. So they're worth selling on. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting that Sonos set up. All the rest of them speakers Sonos, so it sort of makes sense to do that. But yeah, and Dolby Atmos, I've never had anything Dolby Atmos. Actually, what I need to look into is what streaming services support Dolby Atmos, and I don't really want to pay any more for stuff, but I do want to listen to what things sound like, because I think they have the up and down, don't they, in Dolby Atmos? It's not 10.1, but it kind of does do that, doesn't it? They've got the spatial placing, so we shall see. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I'll document some of it, and we'll see when it be in a few weeks probably next week when I get back or something like that. I need to give myself a good day to do that. I said it'll take me longer to dismantle the old one, I think. We shall see. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. It's just I've got to sit in the room with me now for until I get back off holiday. So I know you're working on some projects. What you on at the moment?
Well, I mentioned the wonderful little scales I've been working on for medicine measurement, which is actually working really well. So using this stack ESP M5 stack system, which is basically an ESP386 based system, really cheap, and the whole component cost for this is for the scales and the processor just less than 20 quid. USB-C powered, the two things connect together, and I've got the code working with it. It's working on their sort of proprietary visual coding system, which actually does microfiche from behind the scenes and generates that, and that really easy to work on. So what I've got happen now is in the morning, when you first, so it resets every morning, so it's got a timer in there to see what time of day it is, and every morning it resets, and it basically tears the weight of the bottle on the scales. Now, if it detects no weight before it starts doing that, it gives you a warning flashing light to basically say you haven't got the bottle on the scales and you need to put it on the scales. And it basically tears the bottle at the scales at that time, so it knows what level the bottle's at that point. And if you then take the bottle off, it starts to check to see if you're going to give a dose. So take the bottle out. If you give a dose and put it back down, obviously the weight of the bottle drops. So it detects that. You have to allow for a bit of bounce, so we have to let it settle first. And then it says, okay, you've taken a dose. So if you then come along to take another dose, and this you can set whether it's like 2 doses a day or 3 doses a day, whatever. So it works on the number of hours that would be for that. If you come to take another dose within those 4 hours, for example, 3 doses a day, it will say, it'll flash red at you to say you've already taken a dose if you try and take the bottle off the scales.
That's
but then
great, yeah.
then at the next 4 hours it re-tears again, so it knows where it is, and again go through the same process. So it just basically warns you've already taken the bottle off and you've already given the dose out. And then this was actually for giving medicine to our daughter, because we between us we mix up who's given it and who hasn't given it, so it just stops that issue happening. And it works very well. I mean, obviously it's not 100% accurate. It's not going to be able to tell you to give exactly the right dose or anything like that. It's not medical level, but it works enough. So my next part of this project is to get it communicating with Alexa. So when I take it off the bottle, the thing is, because Alexa can shout at me and tell me I've already given a dose.
Yeah.
Or
so you can like push
even if I haven't given a dose but in the time period, it starts shouting at me to say you need to give a dose. So you have
So it sounds a really good project, though.
It really works as well. It's already proved its worth already. So it's only a little flashing red light, but it's really bright.
And So what's the programming language, or what's the tools that you use for that?
So it's using the stuff that M5 Stack actually provided, which is like a visual set of suites to actually work on. I've just completely forgotten what they actually call it. But I'll just look it up while we're talking. But it actually writes MicroPython in the background.
Right. So you use like a visual tool to create the flow.
Yeah. So it uses I'm trying to remember what the actual stuff, the actual tooling it uses. It's basically Google's. It looks like jigsaw puzzle pieces, effectively.
Right.
UI flow is what they call it. That's it. The UI flow is what they call it. So you're right with flow. And they've got two versions of UI flow: UI flow 1 and UI flow 2. And yeah, I mean, it's literally just dragging and dropping to create the code. And it works really well. It's very easy to pull together. My code, I'm so I can actually pull up the code to show you. It's not. Yeah, the only problem I found is that sometimes their site's down, and it appears to be at the moment, so I can't actually get to it to actually show you what I'm working on, because it's all hosted on their site. But then you just download it, and one of the really nice things is, because these things have got Wi-Fi built in, you can actually connect them over Wi-Fi and just deploy to the device wherever it is. So if I want to update the scales, I don't have to move them out of situ. I can just, because they're already on my Wi-Fi, I can just send them code to them, which works extremely well.
Yeah, that's really good. That it's a really interesting sort of a little it's a little problem, or it's a little opportunity, isn't it, for you to do something just to make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, and they got some really, and I mentioned this last time, but they got some really nice bits and pieces. One of my favourite things I want to play with, they've actually got this control knob, which has got basically a processor built into it, and also an LCD screen touchscreen on front, on a LED touchscreen OLED, I think it might even be, and it's got RFID reader built into it as well, so it would make a great door lock. I'm just trying to think of somehow how to use it, and it's only 27 quid from Buy Up. Show the link. So it's and there's lots of things you can do with it. It's got buttons and buzzers and all sorts of things. So.
Yeah, oh, that sounds really good. Just once you've got all this done, you could do a little sort of video on how you did it.
Yeah, do a little video, the demo how it all hangs together. But yes, it's really, really good fun. Anyway, talk about your music. I was going back to your music because you need to produce some music, because I didn't have enough for my road trip last week.
Oh yes, you went on the road trip.
So last week I was out. I drove down to Somerset, like we were doing, and I was able to borrow a Volkswagen ID Buzz for a few days, because we knew we were picking up a lot of stuff when we got down there. So the little EVs we've got at the moment weren't going to cut it, and wanted to take an EV. ID Buzz is the biggest EV we could find available for hire. And Volkswagen do a really good scheme where you can actually do a sort of like try before you buy hire, and they subsidise the rental basically. So it was like the cost of a couple of days for a normal family car to have this ID Bus for the most of the week last week, and it's great. The only thing I would say is I'm amazed in this day and age you have a van-like vehicle with no reversing cameras. It was fun trying to work out how long it was. I had to go back to my old school skills, but it really showed the worth of electrical power for that type of vehicle. I mean, obviously there's an offset because of range on it, but even there the range wasn't too bad. I was getting 200 miles on a full charge quite happily. But the cool thing about it, yeah, there you go, that's the one, is that the electric power meant up and down the hills because you're in the Contact Hills, it was so easy. It was like normally when you're driving a van, it's grunt to get up the hill. Not in this case, it's just sword up, sword down. It was really good. So yeah, it's an excellent little vehicle to pot around with, and so much load space in the back. And the girls loved it, which is great.
Yeah, it actually it has got quite an interesting look to it, hasn't it? It's not a boring, minivan type thing that you see sometimes. Some of them just look so dull, don't they? But actually, it's got quite a nice, unique look to that.
Mainly the one we borrowed was solid silver, which it doesn't have quite that two-tone quirkiness to it, but even then that was quite nice, and it's still got a lot of looks and lots of comments on while we're out and about it. But yeah, I mean it could do possibly a little bit more range, but the new model, because this was actually the old model we're driving, the new model does come have a more efficient motor, so it does come with a gets better range from that, and a slightly bigger battery, so it gets a bit better range from that. So that should be back to the 150-mile range mark, and that does come with surround cameras as well. So I think if I was going to get one, I'd probably look for one of the more modern ones. I mean, I'm just kind of debating whether it's something I need every day, because it is quite big, and obviously, although I said that it's no wider than my old car was. So it's a bit strange that, but it's a little bit longer. But they're also going to do, so this is a 5-seater. They're also going to do 6 and 7-seaters this year, and a slightly longer wheelbase as well, which gives you more load space. So yeah, and you could definitely lay down and have a sleep in the back of it. It's definitely that sort of thing.
That's a nice car, though. Yeah, or a nice little van, isn't it? Yeah, for handy for moving all the family around.
Yes, definitely.
And did you find plenty of charging opportunities?
Yeah, charging was good. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention on trips. So I had a couple of one glitch, which was quite interesting from a technical point of view. So I signed up for Tesla's network some years back when I remember I took a Tesla over to Germany, and I did a video. So I signed up for the Tesla network at that point, and this must have been way back before they actually had Tesla UK, and I signed up through the US side. Now Tesla have opened up their network in the UK for use, and I wanted to use their account. And I tried to add a credit card to my Tesla account, and it wouldn't let me because it kept telling me my postcode was invalid, even though it's a completely valid postcode on the credit card. And it turns out this is because my account was set up for the American site. Although I was actually on the UK site and it was prompting for postcode, not zip code, it was still looking for a zip code format. And it wouldn't let me put it in because I was associated with the US account. So I had to create a completely new account before I could actually set this up, which was a bit frustrating. But once I found it out, it was fairly obvious. But yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. Sort of technology, international technology is interesting in these cases. So that was interesting. And the other thing we stopped at an American diner on the Wally's up in Bristol, or down in Bristol, which is really nice place to stop. And they've actually got grid serve chargers there, but as their own brand, they're branded as Molly's. They're on the grid serve network, and you can use the grid serve that to start them up, but they're branded to Molly's. But what they've also got there is they've got a motel, and one of the things you can book as part of your room booking is a charger. So you that, which I think is the way hotels should be doing it. You get and they've gone, so they've got for the cafe they've got high speed chargers, but for the hotel they've gone for lots of low speed chargers, which I think is the right approach for that. So that was good. So we had no problems charging it. I think we only charged once on the way down when we stopped at Molly's for lunch. And found plenty of chargers when we were out and about, and certainly enough chargers to keep going.
That's good. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's a different experience with one of those, isn't it? You're used to a van where, like you said, where you especially if you get to a hill, you drop a gear, get your foot down, and it's a very different experience.
It's just smooth, fab. It drives like a car. I mean, that's the thing. It drives. It has the ability of an SUV without all that clunkiness of an SUV. It's just got a bit of style to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and they're actually going to bring out a GTX version, so you'll be able to get a sports van, like a van. It feels wrong calling it a van. I mean, I know it's van shaped, but it's definitely a car. It did actually cause me a couple of interesting things. So I was trying to get some excess cover insurance, and the excess cover companies couldn't work out whether it was a van or a car, and it became virtually impossible to get it covered. But yeah, got there in the end. That was quite a challenge, but yeah, no, it's good, very good trip on that, and it worked really well. Now, the other thing I've done electric vehicle wise this weekend, and we've had gentleman who organises this on the show a few times. It was the evening festival this weekend. Lots of EVs all turned up at Stamford Hall in Lincolnshire. Unfortunately, the weather improved on Sunday because it had been pretty horrendous overnight. So loads of BMWs, Jags, a huge number of different types of EVs to have a look around and see, and also some really interesting conversions. But something which would have impressed you, yeah, to see that they had a whole load of Sinclair C5s
there. Brilliant.
Including one which had been converted to be a soapbox derby car, so that was good. BBC, yeah, it was amazing the number of cars which turned up for it. So it was.
Oh yeah, there's your C5s.
Yeah, it was a really good Sunday, and also Stamford Hall in Lincolnshire is an excellent place to go visit. Amazing gardens and grounds, and probably one of the best stately home type tours you can go on. It's really impressive guides. Very impressed with the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I love it. It's always great to have an enthusiast meetup. That's why I'm looking forward to Synthfest. It's just nice, isn't it, to be in place with sort of like-minded individuals, and a bit like going back to the CES days, wasn't it? It was always good fun to catch up with people there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look for see if I see on any of the pictures. these might be last year's pictures, but that's good fun. So, did you take the van on that one?
No, I took the SMG on that one because we booked to be on display cars, so we said we would go along with the MG Club with the SMG, which is because quite a few people interested in that. So, but I think a lot of people would have been interested in the van if I had taken it.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking to someone the other day that's got one of the BMW, I think it's i40s, and he was telling me how much he really liked the i40 because I think with 250-mile range, I think it's 4-wheel drive as well, isn't it? So i4 or i40, I'm not quite sure what
there's i4, i5. I mean, there are all sorts of i ranges, and then obviously you get i5s, M50s, and it gets really confusing. BMW's naming system is very odd at times.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's it. It used to be dead years ago. They had a 3 series, a 5 series, and a 7 series, and that was it, wasn't it? Now you've got I've got 1 to 8, and you've got one this and 150s, and they're all great. But as in all modern cars, I think, aren't they, that it's now easy for them to make multiple models from the same base, so they sell essentially the same car in different packages.
That picture there is last year's one, but the one above with the interview with Paul who runs it is actually this year's, and just behind the gentleman on the left is Ruth's car.
Excellent. Yeah, so well, I'll for your next road trip, I'll make sure I've got some more.
Yeah, we've run out of music.
I have got I'm now, of course, I'm going to have to think how I'm going to mix things into Dolby Atmos so I can do the surround sound mixes and then take it downstairs and listen to it. Although I've not got Dolby Atmos in here, so it's a bit more difficult to do that. But I fancy it. Yeah, but maybe I'll get you some more music later this year. So I say I've got 7 tracks, so I need to get to 10 and I'll release them. But yeah, sounds good. The road trip sounds good. I'm not on a road trip, but I am away next week on holiday, so we won't have a show next week. But the week after, we should have a special guest joining us, and I think we should be talking vintage synths. We've got vintage synth collector, studio owner, and I've sort of reached out to some of the vintage synth community so we can get to talk to some of them as well. So we're going to have some sound designers and actual vintage synth owners. So coming from the different side of it, of actually going the old synth, and that should be quite interesting. It's a bit like when we talked to the computer club, the retro computer and the computer museums. It's about maintaining these old technologies, some easier than others. Some are analog in circuits and chips, some are chips a bit like with the Spectrum, where they're special chips that are getting hard to get hold of now. So some are quite hard to maintain, and some are with sort of old computer technology. You think those drives and things like those 3-inch drives, and the 5.25-inch drives. These getting quite old, and a lot of work to maintain these things nowadays.
Mm.
So yeah, so we should have some of that coming up in the next few weeks as well. So, and if you've got an interesting story you want to talk about, anything, could be EV or music tech or Windows builds or whatever, let us know. You can drop me at ian@lifestyle.com. We're looking for a new set of guests to join us, and anybody that's got an enthusiasm for any technology. We like talking that smart home, all that kind of thing. We definitely enjoy talking about that. Now, was there anything else we wanted to fit into this week's show before we take our week's break?
Nothing from me. I think it's interesting to talking to the EV community yesterday about how life has moved on, and we come out of the golden age, and now we're just getting on to the early adopters still, but there's far more EVs about than there ever was, and it's kind of end of an era, that last show. It's the last EV festival that Paul's going to run, and it's great to have that enthusiast meeting and that club meeting, but a lot of the EV clubs are starting to die off now because it's just become normal. It's a car. It's just another power source for a car. So yeah, it's the way it works. But yeah, it was good to see, and I think it was what was really interesting is we didn't have any of the conversations we used to have about charger anxiety or range anxiety. Nobody worries about that anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? In the last just couple of years, we've been doing these conversations on the show. That it's changed, isn't it? From when you first started talking about it to now, it really has. It has changed, and like you said, it's not a new thing or a specialist thing, or it's just another form of power for a vehicle.
Yeah.
Whether we'll get hydrogen ones, is that going to be a main? Like, it doesn't seem to be. That's going to be a mainstream technology, does it?
Someone said to me the other day, hydrogen is the future and always will be. It has its place. There are things where hydrogen really works, and I'm not anti-hydrogen completely, but for road cars, it doesn't really work. It has its as a sort of place to put. If you've got an out of the way place where you can't get electricity to, taking hydrogen to it to actually charge an electric vehicle, that makes some sense. But carrying hydrogen tanks around in cars is probably not the best way to go.
Yeah.
Bigger vehicles, maybe bigger lorries, buses, maybe trains, particularly. Replacing diesel trains with hydrogen makes a lot of sense. But yeah, if you've ever seen a hydrogen, the size of a hydrogen plant needed to charge a bus, to fill a bus up with hydrogen, which I have, it's significant. So this is a technology which is very well touted, has a lot of oil company money behind it, which may explain why it's been pushed so hard, and has some easy sell points, like it sounds like it's going to be so easy to fill up your car as quickly as the petrol and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of disadvantages, and you can see how much the disadvantages are, because virtually all the adopters I know who've got hydrogen cars have got rid of them, and virtually all the hydrogen pumps in the UK are closed down. Most of the hydrogen pumps in America are now closed down as well. So there's challenges there. But it definitely has its place for certain things. I'm certainly not knocking it completely, because there are definitely things where hydrogen would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Right, well, where can we find you and your videos, etc.?
You can find me in EV Owner. Sorry, the EV Owner channel on YouTube. And I've got an EV driver. That's where I was getting confused. I've got an EV driver show coming up very shortly with Alex, who's been on the show before. Really interesting talk about the tariffs and everything. How the car companies are getting around having to pay these big fines for not producing enough, not selling enough EVs. Like Jaguar just reducing their sales to just one model this year.
Yeah.
So it's done as a percentage of overall sales. So if you don't sell that many cars, you don't get fined as much. It's quite an interesting way of working. But yeah, that was a really interesting conversation, and I will get it together. I was hoping to get it out last weekend, but things got in the way, and road trips got in the way, so I haven't had a chance. And I will also be doing a video of the road trip as well. I've got some stuff about the ID Buzz and some conclusions about how it works as a family car. So I'll be putting those both up on the owner channel at some point shortly.
Excellent. Well, you can find me on digital-lifestyle.com. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and all that. And I've got the email links on there. You can contact us through there, or you can get me, digital-lifestyle.com. We're back in a couple of weeks with a studio tour video, hopefully, or a studio tour interview, anyway, with the synth collector and studio owner. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you then.
Okay, take care.